As we learned earlier, that factoring is very similar to the distributive property. Well, we know that the distributive property is A times the quantity B plus C. Now we want to distribute that A through the parentheses. So that would be A times B plus A times C. Now for factoring, it's the reverse of that. So we're given A times B plus A times C. And we're trying to factor out a value out of this whole thing to make it as another way to write the equation. So in this case, it would be A, because A is times B and also times C. So another way to see A times B plus A times C is A times the quantity B plus C. So let's do a quick example, like we did earlier, an easy one, and that would be 3x plus 15. Now in this case, we're looking for a value that we can divide out of this whole thing that will make this simpler to look at. So first off, we see a 3 and a 15. Well, we know that 3 times 5 is 15, and we know that 3 times 1 is 3. So maybe a factor would be 3. So let's check. So we divide out by 3, and we're left with x plus 5 times the quantity 3, which is good. Now we can check it to see if it goes back to the beginning. So we do 3 times x, that's 3x, and 3 times 15, 5, which is 15. And that is the same as that. Check, we're good. Now let's do another example. Like we did earlier, we did a division problem. The division problems are a little different. You have to start out with you want to divide out the top of the fraction. So let's do this example. X squared plus 3 divided by x squared plus 2. Earlier in the notes, it looked like x squared plus 3 divided by x squared plus 2. However, it was just easier to write it like that in the computer than to write it like that. So we're going to use this on the computer, and this one is written on a piece of paper. So now that we're on the computer, like we did earlier, we want to simplify this into something easier to do. So I'm going to erase all this so that we could just start from fresh. So we have x squared plus 3 all over x squared plus 2. As we did earlier, we want to make the numerator, or the top, simpler. So we go like x squared plus 2, all that in parentheses, plus 1. So what we did was we took one number out of the top. It's still the same value on top, x squared plus 3, but it's just easier to look at because it will make this a lot easier to solve. So we have x squared plus 2 plus 1 over x squared plus 2. Now another way to look at that is x squared plus 2 over x squared plus 2 plus 1 over x squared plus 2. Well, we know that x squared plus 2 over x squared plus 2 is the same thing as 1. So we have 1 plus 1 over x squared plus 2. And this right here is our answer. And that's it for now. If you have any more questions, ask me in class or go to the next slide.